Everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Christina and I am periscoping live about my organic garden in San Diego, Southern California. I'm doing this weekly and I will give you a brief intro for this show. So, this show will be about roses that are flowering right now, a little bit about rose care at this time of the year. Then I will talk to you about a new project that I'm working on. And lastly, I will show you a new plant that I just recently planted. So what you are seeing here in the moment is the rose Pope John Paul II. That's one of my most beautiful white roses, and it's growing in my backyard, and you can see it's still flowering wonderfully here. I will just move over there to show you some more buds. I'm sorry, but as usual, in our backyard there's a lot of wind. I hope this is not just messing with the blooms that are moving, which make it probably a little blurry on the monitor that you are sitting on. But I hope it's also not messing too strongly with the sound. So I'm really thinking maybe about getting another mic that helps a little bit with this phenomenon. So again, this is Pope John Paul II. That's a very beautiful white, pure white hybrid tea rose. I mean, look at these gorgeous bloom. And we are having the 19th of November. I think it's just totally stunning that this rose is capable to produce these flowers right now. I will move a little bit back so that you get to see the whole bush, which I think is as important as enjoying the whole flowers, because the bush definitely contributes to the beauty of a rose, or not, because I have to say, hi Malvim, welcome to the show. I just introduced myself. I am Christina and I am periscoping weekly about my organic garden in San Diego, California. So I was about to say that the bush is as important as individual blooms, at least for me. And you can see for an hybrid tea rose, this rose has a pretty decent bush form, which, as I said, is really important to me. And you see there are beautiful blooms right now. And what I did, I was so lucky that I could take off an hour or so before from my work. That's one of the advantages being self-employed. And could enjoy the absolutely gorgeous weather that we are having here in Southern California in San Diego. Actually, we are having, I think, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 28 degrees Celsius, and it's just lovely. It has been warm as usual here, but not as warm today. It's just a wonderful day. So, but as I said before, I had some time to garden, which I completely enjoyed, and I dedicated this particular rose to make it a little bit more nice for you to see. But I also decided to fertilize this rose with fish fertilizer. It also contains seaweed, because I'm trying to push the rose a little bit into producing blooms for me for a Christmas table bouquet. I had good success with that in the previous years, so I hope it works out this year as well. And as you can see, if I get a little bit closer, besides these gorgeous big white blooms right now, they're still teeny tiny buds, and I felt they needed a little bit of a fertilizer to develop into these beautiful big white blooms. And this rose doesn't have an easy life. I just show you. It's growing in very close proximity of a queen ant palm. And if you see this, these are palm roots actually. You see the palm is literally invading the rose, and the rose has a very hard time to just grow here well. And over time, the palm actually may win, and I may have to dig out the rose and replace it with another one. Every 5 years or so, the root competition just becomes too tough for the roses if it's not a super vigorous rose, which hybrid teas aren't, and then they need to be replaced, unfortunately, in my garden. But I think this year we are still good, so I'm hoping for these gorgeous blooms for the Christmas evening table. I just want to show you, as I said, I just fertilized with fish fertilizer. There are 2 fish fertilizers that I'm using. One is the Seagrow fish fertilizer with a ratio of 5 to 1 to 1. It's also contains seaweed. Just see, yeah, that's, you can see it a little bit better like that. This is a fish fertilizer that I was able to acquire from the San Diego Rose Society for a really good price. They usually give the possibility to buy organic fertilizers for, as I said, really good prices. That's just an offer that they have for their members. And I got this fish fertilizer from them. The other fish fertilizer that I'm using, unfortunately this is empty now, is Organic Neptune Harvest. It's fish and seaweed fertilizer. And you see the ratios quite differently, 2-3-1, and I think this one is actually better for the roses. But this is really horribly expensive if you have a lot of roses to fertilize with. So this I just do only on occasion for very special roses. I just want to mention these 2 fish fertilizers. Again, this is from Seagrow fish fertilizer, which is also really doing well. I don't get paid to recommend these products to you. I'm just doing it because I know they work for me, and I just want to share this with the ones of you who are interested. And let's move on. Here you see my clippings. I was deadheading roses before and really enjoyed it in this beautiful weather. And if you are moving backwards, I just place these roses here, which need to be potted up in 5-gallon containers. They are in the moment in 2-gallon containers, and I got them from online nurseries when they come as very small bands and just in a quart pot. And usually I just pot them up in a 1-gallon container, then in a 2-gallon container where they are right now, and then in a 5-gallon container, and then the root ball is big and developed enough that usually I have good success planting them out into the garden. The rose that you are seeing here is most likely moon dance, a floribunda, and this was actually a mislabeled rose that I got from Jackson & Perkins. I just tried to order Pope John Saul II. I wanted to have a second one, but they sent me the wrong rose. And I just looked what they're offering, and Moon Dance is the rose that most likely fits this one. But I'm not 100% sure. It's not a bad rose, but it also doesn't make my heart beat faster. But it may improve in terms of the beauty of the blooms when it comes into a bigger pot or even into the ground. But I remember having this rose in my first garden in the Bay Area in Menlo Park, and it was just a so-so rose. Somehow I never got really excited about it, so I'm not really clear if I will plant it in the garden or not. But for now it stays and it gets potted up in a bigger pot. So then when we are again moving a little bit to the left, here's the next one. Let me just show you the rose. Again, I have to be a little careful because the pool is right behind me and I don't want to fall in. So this one here is Snowbird. And Snowbird is a relatively old hybrid tea rose. I actually don't exactly know at this moment when it is bred. I may look it up for you guys for the next broadcast when I mention the rose. And I have to say, I'm not sure what to think about it. So I don't know. What do you think? It has a little bit of pink at the edges. The rose is snow white when it opens. But let me just bring these two a little closer together. But when the rose is more open, you see it has a pretty yellow center, which is beautiful. But I'm not sure if I don't want a little bit more of a white rose. And the petal substance is quite delicate. So I have read that this rose is doing well in California, not Southern California. But I have some doubts if the petals are not too fragile to withstand our heat. But again, this baby will also go in a bigger pot until I have made up my mind, and most likely I will give it a try because, as you can see, the leaves are very healthy for a hybrid tea rose, which is really a big plus. So let's see how it develops and what it will do once it is in a bigger pot. And then the last rose is another rose that I have grown from a band. It's in a 2-gallon pot right now. This is a crocus rose, and this is actually an incredible, beautiful rose bred by David Austin. It's an English rose. It has no blooms right now for me to show you, but they're a light yellow. They have a more yellow center, a little bit of whitish too. So not a pure white, but I know that this this rose has really, really incredible, pretty blooms. So I just hope that in one of my next periscopes, I hope I can show you also blooms of this rose. Again, this is a crocus rose. If you want to look it up, it's bred by David Austin. It's an English rose, and it's really a truly beautiful rose. That being said, so again, looking back, I will most likely replace Moonstone, a hybrid tea rose that constantly each year in autumn and even in spring has rust to a very high extent, and that I can just not put up with anymore. I will replace this rose with one of the 3 that you see here. But first they need to be potted up in bigger pots, and again the root ball needs to grow, and then I will plant them out in the garden. So let's move towards the front, where I would like to explain my new project to you. And while we are going there, you're just passing these Paperwhite narcissus. I have brought them out extra for this periscope for you. The ones who are following me and viewing my periscope broadcasts on a regular basis know that I just force these bulbs. I started to force these bulbs I think it is now 3 to 4 weeks ago, and these are the results. I'm sorry, I just had them here on the ground because it is so windy, and I was afraid that they may fall from the garden table. But look at this baby here. Look how extensively the root growth is. The water is totally clear. I haven't exchanged it at all. And here, ta-da, is finally a green tip. So I thought they would get growing much, much faster. Again, this is 3 to 4 years, not years, at least only weeks. 3 to 4 weeks, I'm forcing these Paperwhite narcissus bulbs in these beautiful hyacinth glasses. And finally, I have at least some success that there is a green tip showing, and I hope that things go fast from now on. Because again, I'm intending to use these bulbs and hopefully in flower on the Christmas table. I just show you the other two, which I started at the same time like the one that I just showed you, and you see how very little root growth here is, but this one also started at least by now. And then the third one, I'm not sure, let me just see, it's not so easy to handle the phone and the forcing glass. You see, here's hardly anything to see in terms of the roots. I'm not sure if this one will really make it, but we will see. So other than that, very easy. Just put them in these hyacinth bulb forcing glasses. Here's my big success. Make sure that the water level in the hyacinth forcing glass is not touching the bulb, because this can lead to rot of the bulb. So just leave a little bit of space, and the plant, so to speak, can smell the water and will start to grow the roots down and reach into the water by itself. So I will keep you updated on the progress. I hope they will flower. I have them in the house in a cool room that's not heated, very, very close to the window, and that seems to work. So I'm curious if I will get my flowers for Christmas, but I think it's so much fun to do these bulb forcing, and I also think with children that must be just really, really nice for them, and they might get really interested in doing this. And again, there's hardly any effort and hardly any cost, so I think that would be a nice thing to do with children. So let's walk to the front yard, and I will show you my new project. I see I have some new viewers, so let me just introduce myself. My name is Christina, And I am periscoping weekly live about my organic garden located in San Diego in Southern California. And we are now on the way through to the front yard where I will show you and explain you my new project that I am working on. Let me just open this gate. We have a Doberman and I always have to be making sure that the gates are locked just in case he gets out. He is just, he's a rescue Doberman and he is 1 year with us. And he is not completely reliable as an off-leash dog. And what you see here already, you know, bags and bags of mulch to grow. And you see a big hole here, is part of my new project. So roughly where the hole is, there was a beautiful hybrid tea rose called Sweetness, but we had a clogged drain and we had to remove the rose so that the gardener could expose the drain from dirt and exchange the part that was clogged, which he unfortunately he really could do it. So now that problem is fixed. But on the other hand, where the drain was clogged is basically where where you see these bags of mulch. So they are covering the drain so that nobody falls in, and also that the drain is protected so that it doesn't break again. Then in this hole here, which is not big enough, it needs to become 2 feet deep and 3 feet wide. This will be a hole for a new rose, and I'm intending to plant either the David Austin Rose Mary Rose here or the David Austin Rose Charles Darwin, which is a very beautiful mustard yellow rose. Just have a look at this chaos here, and also at my beautiful soil, actually in quotes. You see there are pipes. There is a drainage pipe. These pipes are pipes from the sprinkler system. They run in elbows with no rhyme and reason. I have no idea who put them in and why they are put in here the way they are. It is really a mess to deal with. You have to be so careful when digging not to hit anything. Not easy, but it will get done. And you can see, I hope you can see, there is one root of the palm on top of the next, and where it's not roots, there are stones. My dirt is really not good, and I only can plant roses if I completely excavate the soil and exchanges with good rose garden soil, and that's what I'm about to do here. So also here, all these stones, these are the small stones that are in our soil, but they are all being taken out of this hole, and there were 4 big stones here. I would say really anything from half a foot to a foot in length, and maybe half of that in diameter. So, so the first step is to plant a new rose here. It will be a very vigorous rose because the rose has to grow with the root competition of these 2 beautiful but very tall queen palms. You see what a gorgeous day it is. We have such a clear blue sky today. It's just wonderful. So as I said, that needs to be a really vigorous rose. Then the next step will be, I have here the little green plants that you can see. That's actually one Alstroemeria plant. This one I want to dig out and put it in pots for now and then replant in the backyard, because this one just cannot deal with the palm root competition. And I will plant another rose here. So imagine one will be there, one roughly where I'm pointing the camera to now. And I'm thinking a white one here, maybe one of the white ones that I just have shown you from the backyard. Then here in front, we have Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is actually a very floriferous rose. This one I'm not sure what to do with. It might just stay. And then one more thing needs to be done. Here is no sprinkler head in the corner between the sidewalk and my bed. So a sprinkler head needs to be placed right here. So we have to dig a trench from roughly the middle of the bed down here. Then I want this grass to be removed so that we are grass-free here, and also the grass that is, you know, where you see where the palms are. So I don't want any grass in the front yard anymore. it's just not reasonable anymore with the drought that we are having and the water that the grass needs to look nice. So this is a project, and believe it or not, the digging so far already has taken 3 weeks for the gardener to do. And my gardener is a very hardworking man. The digging here is just awful, and I just hope that my husband and I, that we can also dig this weekend and definitely the Thanksgiving weekend. And I hope by then the holes are deep enough to accommodate the roses. I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you too, and I hope you follow my progress. Talking about following, if you haven't followed me yet, please press the little person down below and click it and then follow me so that you don't miss my broadcasts in the future. So I'm just almost at the end of the tour. I just want to show you a few roses in the front yard and the plant that I have planted recently. What comes now into view is really a beautiful rose. It's not too big, which is actually a good thing because a lot of roses get huge here and they are too huge for these small California properties that an average person can afford. So what you see right now is another David Austin rose, an English rose, and it's called Pretty Jessica. And I just get closer. The blooms are really beautifully built, and I have to say it is too bad that I cannot get the fragrance to you. The fragrance is really strong and such a pleasant old rose fragrance. So this is Pretty Jessica. One criteria of this rose is also that the foliage is completely healthy. No mildew, no black spot. I have to admit we don't have much black spot here in my area, but powdery mildew is quite a plug here. So this rose is completely healthy, and I would recommend that for a warm climate. Here's another bloom. Let me just bend it a little bit to you so that you can look into the bloom and you see it's filled with petals. It's just a beautiful little thing to have in the garden. Then moving a little further, so with the sun still on the rose, this is actually Marie Pavier. And I don't know if you can see this on the screen. I hope you can. Do you see that it's full of buds? And this is actually on the 19th of November. I think this is crazy. This is just will produce so many more rose flowers. And this is another rose that I will fertilize with fish fertilizer in the next couple of days, just to give it enough nutrients to really form beautiful roses out of all these buds that it has right now. I'm just seeing, here's a nice spray of the rose that is in bloom. Let me just show you, also lifting it up a little bit. Isn't this a nice little sweet flower? I think it's so charming for a cottage garden, and it has also a very interesting musk fragrance. So this is one spray. You see this is quite a floriferous rose. So another rose comes into view. This is Lavender Crystal. I'm really excited about this rose because the color is so exquisite and also unusual. And it's doing quite well. It's not too long in its spot, but it's doing quite well, even though it's in a little bit more shade than it probably would like. Then coming to the new plant that I have just recently planted. This is Stachys monieri humelo. And I'm very fond of this plant. You see, it's quite amazing. Since it's planted in the ground, it really has made this teeny tiny flower. And it's supposed to flower in the spring, I guess. But it just gives you already a little bit of an idea how beautiful it will be. And the leaves are a very nice, fresh, strong green. And the plant just seemed to enjoy this place. So I'm very happy about this, and I cannot wait what it will do in the spring. And I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying something new in the front yard, so I'm kind of mounting up the beds, probably 6-inch high or even a little more, because underneath they are all palm roots. And I just hope that with this technique, the root competition for the plants planted here is getting just a little less, and they have an easier time to survive here. So this is the end of the tour. If you liked what you have been seeing, I hope you follow me and that you're with me next time when I periscope. Just to let you know, I'm periscoping weekly about my organic garden at different times of the day and also different days. I'm just trying to reach a broader audience and try to figure out when people are actually watching these periscopes. So I hope to see you again. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm wishing everyone a nice day. Bye bye, until next time.